Today on the Diz List, we talk about what other rides need TLC at Walt Disney World.
Welcome to the Diz List, the podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Robin. Today we're going to discuss other rides that need TLC at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
Last week we discussed a new update or a new news brief, I don't know if we call it that or not, that Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin was going to be getting a brand new scene, updated lasers, and updated targets. And you and I were talking this week about, hey, what else needs that little bit of TLC?
Yeah, I mean, we've done this in the past, but they've actually addressed some of the things we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, when I say past, I'm talking like probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
This is something that Disney hasn't been doing. Like, I don't want to say they're neglecting rides, but they're not necessarily keeping up with the times. It doesn't take much, to take something offline for a few months, put in a little bit of love, and show it some love and make it a little bit better. Some of the things on our list, or on my list anyway, are probably longer term shutdowns, but they're not rethemes. These are things that we think we like the theme, we're okay with the theme, but needs a little love. It's seen better days.
And we'll talk about ones that they've done recently, and then we're going to talk about ones that we would like to see.
Correct. Yep.
So we'll get to that after the halftime show, but I have a couple things I want to talk about. First one I didn't tell you about yet, so this is new to you. Yesterday, my daughter had her open house.
Oh, I knew that. Yep.
Yesterday at her college, and we're walking around, and they have all these like freebie tables, and I walk up to one of them, and they have like these window clings for your car, and I walked up and said, "Hey, can I have one of these?" And the guy looks at me and goes, "Are you on a podcast about Disney?"
Shut up.
I swear.
Shut your mouth.
I swear. I said, "Yes, I am." He goes, "Oh yeah, I thought I recognized you from that."
Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
You stopped me in my tracks.
Yes.
A college kid?
No.
A professor.
No, this is somebody that is from our area that actually knows you, but didn't know me, but recognized me from our videos.
Is it Caleb?
No, I'll say the name if you want me to say the person's name. Well, or I'll say it this way without saying the person's name, because I don't know if they want me to say their name on it or not. He's somebody that used to work for the local paper and knows you because of your soccer team. And his first name starts with a K. His last name starts with an H.
Oh.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Why the hell would he know me? Or why the hell would he know? Sorry.
Yeah. He follows us online, and I guess he knows the podcast, and he's seen some videos, and that's how he recognized me.
I have not talked to that man in probably close to 7 years. He doesn't write anymore.
He said to say hello to you, and now he works for the college where my daughter's going.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's very, yeah.
So, folks, if you're watching this on YouTube, that is Nick's real reaction. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's fun to be recognized sometimes.
I have not, because he hasn't worked for the paper in a while.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
that's cool.
He's following the podcast, which was happy to hear.
Well, what's up, Kevin? How you doing?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. I figured I would wait. Sometimes I have some good ones I like to wait until the show to tell you.
So I watched last night. I sat down and watched Mufasa. And
I have not seen it yet.
I will tell you this: I was prepared for complete and utter disappointment. I have made it quite clear on this show that The Lion King is my favorite of the Disney movies that came out in that era, right? My brother was at that age where he was watching things on loop. He was like that 3 years old-ish, something in there. And so I've seen this movie a fair amount. And it's something I think of my youth when I think of The Lion King. And I was prepared to hate this because the whole storyline
it's a prequel, right?
Yes, it's the origin story for Mufasa.
Okay.
And I was prepared to hate it. I'm not going to spoil it for you because there's stuff that the trailer made me think I'm going to hate this. And I was very mistaken. I thought it was really well done. I think it got hate online for the wrong reasons. I think the soundtrack was good. It paid homage to the original without straight up ripping stuff off.
Is James Earl Jones in it at all?
No. So James Earl Jones was...
Because I know he passed away recently, but they used his voice digitally for a recent Star Wars show.
So this isn't spoiling anything. At the very opening, they play a snippet of something that he had said in the original.
Cool.
So
great.
And then, it opens with the, this is dedicated to James, in loving memory of James Earl Jones.
Awesome. Classy.
Very much so. I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen it, and maybe some of the listeners haven't because they thought the same thing as me.
Mm-hmm.
I would say go watch it on Disney Plus if you've got it, because it's better than I expected.
Good. I'm happy to hear that.
The animation or the CG style, or whatever you want to call it, I take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself saying multiple times throughout the movie, I really wish this had come out 10 years ago as an animated feature. But it's not animated, but the story's good. It very easily could have been a good animated feature as a follow-up prequel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because
they did Lion King 2.5 or something, or that it was 2 and then it was 2.5.
Whatever the heck that they did there. Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah, and then they had the television show. So you actually were saying you wanted to talk a little bit about Snow White, right?
Yes, but before I get to that, I started Moana.
Oh, you started
Moana 2. Sorry, I started Moana 2. I hadn't seen that yet. It was my wife's idea. Let's check out Moana 2. The kids are busy. We'd love to watch it with the kids, but I have 2 teens, and they're all over the place. They're having fun. We're not gonna, they would watch it with us. They love watching Disney movies, but we were just sitting around and we needed something to watch. We put it on, and there were a couple things that made me kind of say, let's watch something else. I didn't hate it. There was nothing like, this is a bad movie. One thing I did notice, and we really only made it, I'll be honest, probably a quarter or third of the way through. We both kind of looked at each other and were like, isn't this just like the first movie?
Oh, yeah.
There were so many things that we saw that were just, like the first song was similar, and everything just seemed kind of like we were watching Moana again. Okay?
You're not wrong.
All right. And then the part that bothered me the most, and I realized this is my problem, especially as a teacher. There's a little girl character, and I'm not sure who it is. Moana's, is it sister? I don't really know. I'm not even positive.
Yeah, well, the little girl, I know it. Go on.
But the little girl was just, she had this attitude, and she was whiny, and it made me feel like I was at work.
It was too realistic.
It really was. Well, I wanted this and blah, blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm at school. I feel like I'm with students. And it just, has that ever happened to you where you're watching something?
I mean,
maybe
I don't,
me more because like I have younger kids and
I don't get as irritated
I have like 12-year-olds.
I don't get as irritated about it as you do.
Yeah.
It happens and I think, that is spot on.
Yeah.
But I don't get like, I don't really want to listen to you right now.
I just felt like I was at work.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, for me, it doesn't bother me as much as you do.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this.
Yeah. That's okay.
But again, listeners, I realize this is my issue.
You're not wrong. That
that being a teacher
yeah.
and having a kid like whine or complain or have attitude, it's like,
yeah.
I want to relax and enjoy something and not feel like I'm at work. I want the opposite thing, Well,
like I said, you're not wrong that that is very much how, like the movie is very similar to the first.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I find myself getting upset about movies that do that, I then remember I'm a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
And literally they have 3 trilogies that are all the same.
That's true.
So it's hard for me to really get too upset about it because I recognize that that's the case.
But the difference too is I didn't see it in the theater, and if I were in the theater, yeah. I would feel like I was stuck. So since we were at home, we just paused it and we put on something.
Yeah,
else.
You can go on. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Because I was still prepared to hate it, the first 10 minutes of Mufasa, I was like, this is so. Oh my god, this is so stupid.
Well,
there was one number they played. They sang in the very early on. That I was like, this is awful. I was like, this is just slow. And then it wasn't. And I liked it.
I'm glad.
So I thought it was good.
Well,
we have one more thing to do before we go to the halftime show, though.
Snow White?
Oh, yeah. We have
Let me finish with Snow White. This is quick.
We have 2 more things.
Well, in the car, again, on the way up to our college visit, my daughter says in the back seat, she goes, Dad, everyone online is hating on this Snow White movie. And I'm like, yeah, I'm hearing that too. And then I said, well, let's hold on for a minute. Let's analyze what you just said. I said this to my daughter. I said, you're not wrong by saying what you're seeing online is a lot of negativity towards Snow White. I said, let's think about that for a minute. Who's saying this online? And it's a good conversation. The influencers and people on social media.
It's the same thing that I say to my stats kids.
Right.
Like who is saying that claim?
Right.
Yeah.
So then I said to her, I go, well, let's break this down even more. Where or who is the target audience for this? It's young kids. Young kids generally are not going to be on TikTok and Instagram and things like that. So if the movie is doing really bad,
I don't know that it is for young kids though.
Right. But who is driving the car and paying the money? I think maybe some of those families are seeing that it's maybe the effect that it's kind of an echo where somebody says it's really bad and then it spreads and everyone thinks it's really bad.
I think it's the same.
Is it really bad?
I think the people saying it's bad are the same people who don't like Tiana's.
Could be.
That they're for lack of a better phrase, they're showing their cards, showing their hand.
Yeah.
When they say things like, "Oh, yeah, look at Snow White. That's not what Snow White's supposed to look like." Well, I'm sorry, she's not a little pretty white girl.
Right.
Like that. I mean, that's part of it. I think that's a very big part. I'm not saying they're racist for it. I'm just saying like there's implicit bias there.
Yeah.
I do think that some of the people who are hating on it because they don't like change.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's, I get that too. And then there's a whole crowd who don't like the live action remakes, and I totally get them too.
Well, and that's my next point. You led me right to it. Is I saw this other article yesterday that potentially the Tangled live action remake is on hold because of how poorly this did and how much money they lost, hundreds of millions of dollars. Well, it's not over. The release isn't over yet, but they're losing a lot of money.
We live in such a politically charged world.
We do.
Where people don't like the retelling of a story that isn't the way it used to be.
Right.
If they feel like you're coming after them. So nobody came out and said Disney was redoing Snow White so that it made it less about her relying upon men. Because that's, the original story or whatever is very, women can't help themselves sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are people who don't like that. They feel like it's quote unquote woke, right?
Sure.
Which I hate. I can't believe I said that because I hate using that word. And to a certain extent, Disney is trying to recognize that times are changing, and when you think about some of the old Disney movies, is that really as two girl dads, is that really who we want our daughters to be?
Yeah.
Do we want it to be Cinderella? Do we want our daughter to be Snow White? Do we want our daughter to be Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah.
I don't. I want my daughter to be Tiana. I want my daughter to be Rapunzel smacking a dude in the face with a frying pan.
Or even Moana and being this wayfinder and leader.
Merida,
great.
Those are the heroes that I think that, but nobody's going to get mad about a retelling of Merida because Merida always was that strong figure. Yeah. Whereas Snow White wasn't. So I think there's a fine line that Disney has to walk here. And I don't think it would be as bad. I think if it had been Tangled, I don't think it would have bombed as badly.
Right.
But that's just me. I also am a big fan of retellings that maybe lean heavier into the original storyline. Mm-hmm. So, I personally really liked Wicked because it's closer to the book. And I really like the books because I like how they basically retell a story. Gregory Maguire does a great job of retelling classic stories or think from a different perspective. So I kind of think that it'd be cool to do adult versions of these fairy tales more along the lines of the Grimm brothers original. Last week we talked about Hansel and Gretel. That would be a pretty, if Disney-fied it for kids, but it would also be cool if Disney straight up did a movie that was a little bit fantastical, that was following the books a little bit.
And a little spooky's okay because the original Snow White animated is a little spooky too. That witch is really creepy looking. It's pretty fantastic that the way that they do it.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't have it be spooky. I'm just saying I do think that the people who are loudest aren't necessarily the people that they were aiming for. And unfortunately, they needed the people who are loud as well as the people they were aiming for to get on board in order to make money. And I think that's the main. I mean, they just had so many redos of this movie they had to go through, reshoots and stuff like that. And that's why it cost so much, I think.
Have you heard anything about the new Narnia movie that they're going to be redoing?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Well, that should be. Take a look into that. I know they're in the early stages of.
You
doing
know me
another,
and know that
that's your favorite.
I love that series of books. And
did you know that they're going to be doing another one?
I had heard that. I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay.
It's kind of where I'm at.
Okay.
But that's when we're like, it's always been live action. Let's keep that, right? Let's stop going back to the animated stuff and trying to revive it with a. And I understand what they're doing, right? I get it. It's the easy way out, but I think they got burned big time on this one, so I think we might see less of it.
How would you feel about the opposite? I don't know if we've ever discussed this before.
I don't like that.
Let's say they take Narnia and now they make it into a digitally animated movie similar to the current Tangled that we have now. That style animation.
I personally don't like it. I think. So I just got upset about people who don't like who don't like change.
Yeah,
but I don't like the change.
Yeah,
and I don't.
But here's the thing, though. Sure, that's sort of a semi-contradictory statement, but it's your opinion.
Yeah, no,
and I can't say your opinion's wrong.
I'm not hating on the people who don't like Snow White.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and I'm sorry if I didn't mean for it to come off like I was judging people for not liking Snow White.
Yeah,
because I haven't seen it yet. But like a lot of the same people who don't like Tiana's because. Oh, I understand Splash Mountain was racist, but it's not like anybody knew that. No, everybody knew it.
Yeah.
Everybody knew it.
And it needed to change.
It needed to change.
Yeah.
And like, don't try to. But they were they were willing to ignore the racism.
Yeah.
Because they liked the ride, and then it makes them look more racist that they don't like this ride because it's Tiana. I don't know. Like it. It's just weird to me.
If nothing else, you just accidentally did a perfect transition to the halftime show because we're talking about rides that have been changed for the better.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to do
before
after
we do
our halftime
that,
show.
We got to spin the wheel.
Oh yeah, we got to do
it.
it. Yes.
So we got our.
All right. Cool.
So Dizlist Pod followers or subscribers over on YouTube. We thank you so much for subscribing. We took all of the names that we could from our list. Right. Some of them are private, but took all the names, put them into the wheel of names, and Rob's going to click spin in a moment, and the winner is going to get a free shirt from magicmerch.art. I'm wearing one right now. It's my my design for pirates, but let's go ahead and spin it, Rob.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. Okay, we got it spinning.
The winner is.
Let's see what we get here.
All right, it is. ARYN is Aaron, or is
it could be Aaron?
Aaron, CAUDILLO, and I just definitely said the full name on the podcast. Is that okay?
So Aaron C. That's okay. It's okay. That's what their name is on. That's what their name is.
Oh, okay, that's fair. If it's
public and YouTube,
okay, good.
People could go and see this in YouTube.
Yep.
So Aaron, I will be reaching out to you this week.
Aaron. It could be Aaron too. Cool.
That's awesome. But we're gonna head off to the halftime show, which of course every week is brought to you by the patrons over on Dizlist Pod or on Dizlist Patreon page. So we'll see you after the break. Welcome back. This half of the show, we're going to talk about rides that need TLC, much like the movies. We kind of went a little long in that opening, and that's okay.
Well, there's a lot to talk about.
There definitely was a lot to talk about. Before we do that, I do want to say, right now, we're not sure if we're going to have a show next week because we had said, maybe we'll double up today. I forgot to tell Rob, because I'm not a good friend, I forgot to tell Rob that I'm going north to see my mother next weekend we have a break there, spring break. Mm-hmm. And so as a result, I won't be here on Sunday when we typically record. So if you don't see us next week, we might put out a re-release or something like that. If you don't see us next week, that's why.
We can figure it out. I mean, at the very least, I think
just want to be transparent with them.
We could do something short after we finish this. Yeah. We'll figure it out afterward.
Yeah, definitely. But I just wanted to put that out there. And then right now, what I want to say is that this list that we're about to do is not all inclusive. So if you're screaming at your television or if you're watching YouTube or if you're screaming at your radio because
What about this?
yeah, we recognize a lot of rides need TLC.
Yeah.
For instance, I'll spoil one. Space Mountain's not on this list, not because we don't think it needs TLC, but because that's not, in our opinion, a priority compared to some of these other ones.
Wow.
And it's also like you would have to like shut it down for a year,
Yeah.
a la Big Thunder, and
Right.
redo the entire
Well,
track.
and if you're someone like myself who's ridden it on both coasts, it's amplified even more how much it needs TLC. Before we begin, I want to go over a couple of quick things, and feel free to jump in with any of these points here. But I had a couple bullet points I want to go through. So we talked about last week, Buzz Lightyear's getting updates.
Yes.
All right. Some other rides that need updates, but they've done this recently. So I'm going to go through a couple of them that they've done, and they've been beneficial.
Yep.
So I don't think I really count Country Bears because it's literally like a kind of a redo of the whole thing. So if you want to count it, we count it.
I would count it as getting TLC.
Okay. Haunted Mansion has had a couple, especially Hatbox Ghost. At Pirates, they've had some mini upgrades. I would even include adding Johnny Depp to the ride, changing Red into a pirate.
I actually
think that's cool.
I like that scene better.
It's good change.
I actually like that scene better.
That's a newer one. Peter Pan did some minor changes to the actual ride, little stuff, but the queue was completely redone. People love it now just for the queue.
You have to because you're in the queue forever.
and you're inside, and it's cooler too,
Yes.
and you're not baking in the sun, so
Yep.
that's good. Big Thunder is getting that redo right now, and we don't know what to expect because we don't know.
But like, here's what I think's gonna happen. I think we're definitely getting the projection of the explosions.
Yep,
Maybe we'll get Dynamite Goat.
maybe.
I don't know. But I think the track is. I mean, they have lifted the track out and brought pieces back.
Yep.
So clearly, it's gonna be a smoother ride.
Yep.
So
Test Track is in a complete redo. We think we don't know. That's up in the air. Not even really worth discussing unless we want to, predict. But that's not what this episode's about. Jungle Cruise got a little bit of updating. So when I went back and kind of went through all the rides, what has been changed, what has been updated? There's been a lot.
Yeah,
There's been a lot.
Jungle
of these
Cruise should
updates.
update their speakers. And I don't. I say that.
Agree.
I say that sarcastically, but not.
Yeah.
Like, part of my gripe with Jungle Cruise is that, like, I could deal with the same old standard jokes if the same old standard jokes were understood. You can't hear them.
Yeah, it's like a subway speaker in New York City.
Yeah. So that's just me.
It is.
So you want to start? You want to kick things off?
We have a couple that we want to talk about here, and just there's more to it. We just have like little things that I would kind of like this or I would kind of like that. So Winnie the Pooh, for example, is pretty good. It's a relatively new ride. There aren't really a lot of issues with it. How can you change it and take it to the next level?
Bring back Mr. Toad. No, I'm just kidding.
I wish. I just think you can add Mr. Toad somewhere else. Take that ride and just clone it, put in UK Pavilion or somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
It already exists. So, you could put, like, when they get to that Heffalump scene where it's kind of like the dream nightmare. Some people say it's drug induced. That's stupid. It's not.
I always call it the acid trip ride. Yeah,
right.
I know.
So in that ride, if you really want to push the crazy, add some projections around the room. Add some like wavy colors as you're going around, just to kind of change that environment a little bit more. I think that's an easy, quick one. That's one where the Imagineers could kind of map out the inside of the ride. That could be done behind the scenes. You close the ride for a week, it reopens, and now there's that. That's an easy one to do. So I figured that's a good one to start off with because that's one you could close, reopen.
Yeah, do some projection mapping.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I actually think that Pooh could use some refreshment as well.
Yeah.
The queue is fun for little kids. I'd like to see them maybe get rid of the honey wall. I know a lot of people like it.
A lot of people get sick from touching it.
Yeah, you don't need to touch it either. You can be an inch away from it and it recognizes your hand. So I don't know. But there's some stuff in there, like it's all black light paint, right? What if they did some projection mapping and did some projections? I agree with you. I think that'd be a good one. I'm going to go with one that's completely obvious now that we talk about all the time. Everest.
Oh, yeah.
So if you can't, because I think it's at this point they can't. I think at this point the force generated by Yeti is so much that there's no way to do it without like bringing in steel structure, heavy duty steel structure.
Yeah.
So let's say they can't. Okay, there needs to be some more ways to at least see that thing. Lights, spotlighting, not disco lights, but actual lights.
Yep.
You're moving so fast, you don't need the disco lighting thing. I would like to see maybe a little bit that the shadow that's projected. I feel like that could be better. Like there could be better projections along that ride. I think it would be scary to have it lit up a little bit more, just a little bit brighter. I think that would make it scarier. And I get that it's the people that ride the ride that are the problem, not Disney themselves, but go clean those darn hairbands at the top. It bugs me every time. Every time. It's like, who does this? Oh, let me shoot my hairband into the... And I get that, like, the real Everest is one of the most polluted areas in the world. I get that. But I don't know why they can't... Why can't they go up there and clean that once a week?
They could.
Yeah.
They definitely could.
I think
you just need a spotlight and stop the ride there.
The queue needs no work. It's one of the best queues on property.
Oh, yeah.
The ride itself is great. It's just the right amount of jerking around and roughness. I love everything about it, but like you spent all that money on that animatronic, and if it can't move, at least let us see it.
Well, it can. That was the one thing that I was going to add in too. And the way it can move is if you put a fan in there, that fur will move.
Oh yeah.
So you put a fan, you put a spotlight, you shoot through there so fast that even if you're looking to the left, right? Because the left, right? And sorry. Even if you are looking to your left when you're going in the tunnel, maybe you don't know that is coming up on your right-hand side. So if you're looking over to the left, or if you're on the ride looking at the person you're with, you miss it when that strobe goes off maybe 2-3 times while you're in there.
So you and I know that's there.
Yeah.
People who research before their trip knows that's there.
Yeah.
There's a reason we have to tell people to research. It's because there's a lot of people who don't.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who don't even know that there's an actual Yeti on that thing. And then they go by it and it's Disco Yeti.
Or
like,
they go, what was that? There was like a flash. Did somebody take my picture again?
It's as missable as the Carnotaurus is in Dinosaur. If you especially in the later part where all of a sudden lights weren't working out a lot of times in Dinosaur. So, all right, that's one of ours is Everest. I think that needs a little. It's not a big deal. We're not asking to fix the full Yeti.
No,
but give us the ability to see the Yeti. So
I have another quick one, another projection one. Everything I do is not all projection based, by the way. But this one, I was thinking the Little Mermaid scene where Ariel's dancing and it's that giant room of fish.
Yeah,
you're in a big room. Why don't you use projection for ceilings, walls, everywhere around to kind of create bubbles? And I don't know if it's before or after. I've written it so many times.
They do it when you're going in.
That's what I'm saying. Like where the bubbles kind of rise up. Yeah. That's before. Make that on the walls. Put other fish swimming around them. Like use the projection. Like that's things you can buy off of Amazon and play a movie in your backyard. Like you can get those projectors and kind of set them up around. It's not that expensive.
I suspect that a lot of those rooms, everything's painted black on the ceiling and everything's painted black on the wall. I suspect that the walls aren't exactly smooth and the ceiling probably has some exposed structure.
So, well, walls would work even if it wasn't ceiling.
No, I understand. I agree with you, but I suspect why they haven't yet is that I do believe that is a great way to enhance that ride. I wonder though if the projection do you think the light being a little bit brighter in there would affect the black light's impact on those fish that are swimming with her? Because that's all black light tricks again too.
I would say no, because the way I was thinking of it is those projections wouldn't be coming from behind me. They would be coming from low and behind all of the animatronics. So they would project up, and then you do the keystone effect where it would spread on the wall, so it's
like
not
a
interfering.
Short throw projection onto the wall.
Yes,
at the wall.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And we know that from being teachers how those short throw projectors work.
Well, yeah, and you can buy. I mean, yeah, you can buy them for your house now. You can do a 100-inch projection by putting a thing on a table 6 inches from a wall. It's crazy.
So that's that one. What do you have?
Imagination. I mean,
anything. First half at least.
Like
second half I can live with.
They could go in there and breathe on it, and I'd be like, "Thank you." Like blow the dust off the door handles of the office building part.
Yeah,
it has gotten so unbearably bad. I love Figment, and I will skip this ride 9 times out of 10.
How is it not next in the
How was it not before?
I don't know.
Listen, the fact they're so tone deaf on this, the fact that the fact that Spaceship Earth, I was going to say Space Mountain, the fact that Spaceship Earth was scheduled to get a refurb before the Imagination Pavilion screams tone deaf by Disney. They make so much money on Figment merch. The line when they have a Figment popcorn bucket,
it's longer than the actual ride.
It's a 40-minute wait to meet Figment.
Yeah.
And the ride?
It's a walk-on.
Yeah.
Not always, but
I mean, and I don't know what I want them to do. Something. We talked about projections, like, I don't know, maybe do projections. Like, it's beyond criminal that one of their biggest in-park IPs.
Oh yeah, they make so much off of it.
Is treated the way, like, they should have a thing like you know how when you buy a lottery ticket, like $1 of every sale, whatever goes to 1% of every sale supposedly goes to education. Like this, that's what they like. Every time you sell a pin, every time you sell a plush, every time you sell a popcorn bucket, a T-shirt, a Spirit jersey,
it goes into the Figment.
It goes into the Figment fund. Like 5% of every sale goes to the Figment
right
fund.
now.
It will take them a month, and they'll have enough to build a brand new ride.
Take my money.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so Imagination Pavilion.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know what. Just anything.
Well, and then next door, I was thinking in the Living with the Land Pavilion, maybe they could focus on hydroelectricity. And maybe...
in Living with the Land itself. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then the boat goes over a waterfall. So it'd bring that much more... I'm kidding, by the way. But
are you serious, though? Were you serious? Okay,
no,
I want to make sure.
I was joking.
Okay.
I thought I'd throw that in there.
Could you imagine?
Living with the Land. Now you go over a waterfall.
Yeah. Only then.
But you learn about how hydroelectricity works.
Only
I mean,
then
living in Western New
Living
York.
with the Land.
Well, it's a big thing in Western New York because we're not far from Niagara Falls.
Niagara Mohawk, yeah.
No, that one was a joke. That's not a real one. I'll end with my real one, which is also projection based. I lied. I said it wasn't all projection, but it is. So my last one is just upgrade the Frozen interior projections. I think you know what I'm talking about.
I would say that.
What are they called? Interior projection, where there's it's inside, maybe like back of the head, neck area, and Anna and Elsa are. It looks rough.
I mean, I would say don't upgrade it. I would say lose those animatronics altogether and give us the ones from
Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Is Tokyo Disney Sea has it? Yeah.
Because like, what the heck are we? Like, are you? They look like. Okay, so I'm sure that we have students who listen and watch, and it's fine, whatever. But you know, like when the teenagers are getting ready for prom, you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
And they don't want to necessarily like go to the tanning salon because like to do that like is expensive.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get real spray tans. They go to Walmart and they buy like the self-tanning stuff.
Yeah. And
they like don't actually know what they're doing. They rub it all in wrong. And like the sides of their face are like darker than everything else. Literally, that's it. Every time I see Anna and Elsa on this ride, I'm like, oh, it looks like a teenager just tried to do self-tanning. Like it, that's horrible. But tell me, we're at prom season right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna start seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the fingers, like in between their fingers, turn like dark because they.
Not in my house.
Well, I get it. I get it, but like you know that we're gonna start seeing it, and that's what Anna and Elsa look like. And I'm sorry if you're one of those people. I'm just telling you that's what Anna and Elsa look like on that ride. Sorry, I always think that on that ride too. That all you have for Frozen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I agree with you.
And then I had my joke one too. So if you got a couple more, you can finish those.
That's
all I have.
I have the one ride, one more ride, and we talk about it also frequently. This one you wouldn't need to do with projections because there would be nothing to project on.
Is it this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tomorrowland Speedway needs to get some TL. I recognize at this point it's not ever going to get demolished. Okay. Yeah. They need to be electric cars. Okay. For a couple reasons. It's so loud over there. Like unbearably loud. And the smell is just awful. It's awful.
Has Disneyland done the upgrade yet?
That I don't know. I know it's coming. I don't know if they have yet. The other thing is, like, they could easily keep it as it is, but, like, throw in some IP somewhere along the trail there.
Yeah,
like,
you've had some good ideas with how you could change that
ride. I really do think a Wreck-It Ralph kind of thing, Vanellope von Schweetz in there would work. But, like, it just needs a little bit of love. Like, those cars... That can't be cheap to operate that ride. What other ride costs as much as that one? I can't possibly think of one to run, to operate all day.
Yeah.
Because like the gasoline, it's just crazy. I don't know. So that Tomorrowland Speedway just needs some love. I did just kind of like an honorable mention. I know it's been a while since we've done honorable mentions. I like this ride as is, and it's gotten some love as far as cleaning and some fresh paint here and there. West Coast Small World has IP in it. West Coast Small World's the original, right? I mean,
they changed that one.
That's the original.
Oh,
if you can change the original,
yeah,
you can change its derivatives.
Yeah, and I think the kids would be more interested saying, "Oh, that's the Disney or the Magic Kingdom ride that has Moana in it, and she's in the Polynesian room or whatever."
It's the Mary Blair version of those animated. I think that's fine.
Yeah, they do. The Toy Story characters are in there in the West Coast.
They did finally get rid of the hello screens at the end.
Yeah.
Now they just have but their used to be they would read your Magic Band,
right?
And like one person in the boat got called out, and like every single time my daughter would be like, "I want my name called," and it's like, well, we'll ride it on loop until you do, I guess. I don't know. Like,
you come into the station. We're not getting off.
Yeah. Not until her name's up there. We're going to keep going. We're going to wave to people in Pinocchio Village House again. So that one I think they could bring in some IP. It's okay. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing the Country Bears version of a Tiki Room update either.
Oh.
But, I love Tiki Room, so...
I was thinking about that, whether that needed an update. When they did update it, it was a huge flop.
Yeah, so then do it the Country Bear style.
Yeah.
Just put new animatronic type stuff in there, technology.
New songs.
I worry that when they, you now can rest assured that because they updated Country Bears, it's not going anywhere for a while.
Yeah,
I worry that Tiki Room could go away because of the fact that they have not put anything into it.
What would they put in that spot, though?
I don't know.
It's just like a big performance room.
Maybe a performance. Who knows?
I don't know. I would hate to see that go.
I would too. I'm just saying.
It's a good people eater.
I agree with you. I love that room.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Thanks, guys.
Well, congratulations to Aaron or Aaron.
We'll find out.
Yep.
And if you haven't yet subscribed on YouTube, please do. Also, make sure you're following us over at DizListPod. And then you can check us out on patreon.com/DizListPod. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow's just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.